Hello and greetings from Iceland. Today's video is one of those who fits nicely into both the geology section of my channel and the tourist section as well. And this is not one of the high-profile, easy-to-get-to tourist spots. In fact, the highway that leads us up to the trail, that leads us up to the craters, is not even listed by the road administration on the official Icelandic roadmap. So what we have is a little dose of idiocracy as a bonus feature in the video. And if there would be a sports section on the channel, this video could actually work there as well, since today's main location is also this excellent idea for bad golfers who always dreamt of hole-in-one but never found a suitable golf course that fits their lack of talents. So this video is packed with the goodies that originate around this geological phenomena on a sealed volcano. And sealed volcanoes are some of the largest volcanoes on Earth, created from extremely hot lava that flows easily, creating widespread thin layers over time where the landscape is not obstructing the flow. And that is how they can get this shape, often resembling a warrior's shield on the ground. And the lava from today's volcano flowed 25 kilometers from its top crater. And the name of the volcano is Þeistareykjabunga. And strangely enough, this is not the tourist spot it deserves to be, but it has of course to do with how rural this place is. And when tourists try to pronounce the name Þeistareykjabunga, they sometimes get something else than they asked for. So this video tries to make Iceland a bit more accessible and easier to understand. And let's start up here and work our way down from the map, starting with the basics of the landscape we are about to see. And this is the 80 kilometer long and up to 8 kilometer wide Þeistareykir fissure swarm. And parallel to this volcanic system, we have the Krafla volcano and its a very long fissure swarm that went through a major volcanic tectonic chapter between 1975 and 1984 when 9 eruptions occurred. And as we look to the southeast from this drone angle, we overlook the Krafla lava fields, and that is a popular tourist spot. Krafla is way easier name to pronounce than Þeistareykjabunga, and I'm going to leave a link in the description box with my own map, since the tour of the day, it starts in the village Húsavík, from where we have a new road to a geothermal power plant, and a muddy trail from there up to the craters. And the road to the power plant, it follows a massive fault, and the fault runs beside this lake and out to the Skjálfandi Bay, which means the shaking bay, for a reason. So I'm going to recommend a separate video I made about it a while ago, and leaving a link for it. But this tour of ours from Húsavík, which is a beautiful town, it has not even started when tourists might run into troubles, especially those who rely on the Icelandic road numbers, which is way easier than to remember road names like Þeistareykjavegur. And not even Google got that name right, so I'm working on correcting it. And this road up to the power plant, it hasn't got any road number. In fact, the Icelandic Road Administration acts as it isn't there. You can't find this road on the Icelandic road map, the official one, although this is a good highway and new. And that means that we can't get information about the road status, like if it's closed due to snow and such. And this was so odd that I sent a formal request to the road administration while preparing for this video. And they told me that since this road was made by an energy company during the construction of the power plant, it is not considered to be a part of the official Icelandic road system. But this is, however, not a private road. This is just as open road as any other road in Iceland. But the lesson to learn from this is, of course, that bureaucracy and regulations, they have this tendency to override common sense. And there is a reason why I have things like this in my print-on-demand stores ever since I opened them. So my point is, despite the public information, the road is there. I can confirm that. And moreover, not only connects it the village Húsavík to the power plant, it continues all the way to Lake Mývatn, the number 1 tourist spot in North Iceland. So it instantly became this great addition to the tour options we have in this very popular and remarkable region. And although the road administration tries to hide the road for tourists, I know for a fact that local hotels celebrated when it opened, just like me. And I was actually one of the first travelers that drove the full road all the way to Lake Mývatn shortly after that part of it was opened. But today, I'm only going to do the part from Húsavík to the power plant. And our first stop is by this high temperature area, which has the usual color palette we find in such areas. There are a few cabins there that were categorized as rural highland cabins for local touring clubs, but now they are located in an industrial area amongst the pipelines and such. So I've heard voices say that this has all been ruined for them, the quiet highland magic, and I can of course say yes to that. This is no longer the highland resort it used to be. But for those who don't have super jeeps, this area was made accessible, so it is getting way more attention than it did. I would not call this a prime location when we talk about natural beauty. The landscape is interesting though, but I like it more for drone photography, like you will soon see. So it's close by the power plant where the road up to the Shield volcano starts, or the trail, and it's not even properly marked as such. I had to find it through aerial photos. And as we move on up to the volcano, I noticed that someone dumped a few truckloads of gravel on the first kilometers of the trail to make it a bit easier. But after that, the trail was very muddy. This is just a trail for the local farmers to get the sheep up there after the lambing season and back down in September. And the last eruption around here was like 2,400 years ago. There is some seismic activity around here every now and then, but nothing drastic though. So it would be a surprise to see this part of the plate boundaries getting us into troubles. But never say never though. And it takes us around 30 minutes to drive to the craters. And you also find a junction there where the road splits into this road to Krafla volcano, and the other trail leads us down to an area called Kelduhverfi, or a region that got hit very bad during the tectonic chapter I mentioned earlier. And to get a good look over the craters is of course best with a drone. This looks like a sinkhole, and strictly speaking this is a sinkhole, although this is categorized as a pit crater, since under there is a feeding dike that fed the eruption, and then the roof above the dike collapsed and formed this wonderful golf hole for some of the worst players in the world. And the crater itself, it looks as it collapsed as well, but the thing is that it's not as easy as one might have thought to get information about this phenomena. That might have to do with the unfortunate name that this place has. Like the pit crater is called Litla Víti, or Little Hell, and the main crater is called Stóra Víti, or Big Hell, and Víti is a common name for explosion craters in Iceland, and that can be very confusing for the tourism industry especially. But you also have to bear in mind that this region is just a part of a small municipality, and this is likely a private land, and investment in tourist infrastructure around here, like sightseeing platforms, would likely leave a very little return unless the road would be fixed as well. And that is a major investment. But to have places like this, literally untouched, not with tourists all around, that has its own benefits. And it is possible to drive up there on popular rental cars like the Dusters. They can be seen all around Iceland. but that would only be done during a good day with a skilled driver because there are rocks sticking up from the road all around, and it's very easy to damage smaller cars, and you don't want the car rentals to ask you to pay for the damages or walk the plank. And I was up there on my Land Cruiser that came back like this, and I was not ready to do the complete trip this time because this was shortly before I bought new tires, and it is very easy to run into problems there in the mud. And although I didn't get the perfect light for filming, I was quite pleased with the results. I captured lots of wide shots that will go into my collection, since this location is an important part of the plate boundaries, and I'm quite sure that I will need that footage for some of my upcoming updates. So this place is interesting not just for those who are into geology, also for those who don't want to follow the mainstream and have the right vehicles for the job. And this is also a good place to go hiking in this strange landscape we have in the north. And I am going to make a longer version of this video soon that will cover this complete tour. That video will have music only, and that version will be excellent for those who can't come visit us, since I shot that video mostly from a car, so you will be able to see what I was seeing during my tour and experience Iceland with little or no editing at all. That version will be online soon, and with that I'm sending you best regards from the volcano island, Iceland.